latest episode of Unwin from the End Zone with your favorite host, King N.P.V. You know that's me, baby. And today I will be giving you my thoughts on WWE Worlds Collide from yesterday in Las Vegas. WWE's announcement to be taking WrestleMania 43 to Saudi Arabia, and my flaming hot 5 NFL picks for week 2 of the NFL regular season. Now, without further ado, let's get into it.
You're watching the latest episode of N1 from the End Zone. Please click on that subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops. Now, let's kick it.
All right. So, yesterday we witnessed history as Dirty Dominic Mysterio, el sucio de los sucios, defeated el hijo del vikingo to become AAA Mega Campeón, ladies and gentlemen. And what a historical day it was. We got to see Rey Mysterio come out there and put the title on Dominic, basically Dominic forcing Rey to do it. And I don't know if you guys caught this, but when Rey was leaving the ring after placing the title around Dominic, he was smirking. He was happy. He was proud of his son. He couldn't hold it back. He tried to. He couldn't hold it back. And if I was Rey in that position, I would be ecstatic too. Dominic has earned it. I understand he's supposed to be a heel, but he's over. I remember when Dominic would get the mic and he would try to say something and he would get booed out of the arena. Now Dominic, whenever he comes, people cheer even though he's supposed to be a heel. We love him. He's so over with the crowd right now, and it's very well deserved. Good call by WWE pulling the trigger on Dominic and making him a 2-belt champ. I'm ecstatic. I'm excited. However, that wasn't the match of the night, in my honest opinion. Now, when it comes to actual matches of the night, the match of the night was the AAA Latin American Championship Fatal 4-Way match between Dragon Lee, El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr., Ethan Page, and JD McDonough. Every single person in that match shined. Everybody hit their spot. Dragon Lee, being the only one in that match who wasn't a champion, was the star of that match, in my honest opinion. He hit all of his moves. He looks phenomenal. I just don't think the WWE on the main roster has anything really for Dragon Lee. If they really pushed him in AAA and had him become basically the face of AAA, I think Dragon Lee could have a bright future with WWE. However, on the main roster, even though his in-ring ability and his technical lucha libre skills are incredible, I just don't see them booking him properly, and they kind of have him floating around in meaningless feuds, to be completely honest with you. The second best match of the night, in my honest opinion, was La Parca, Octagon Jr., Laredo Kid, Máscara Sagrada, defeating Cruz del Toro, Joaquin Wild, Lince Dorado, and Mini Abismo Negro. The reason why I think those matches worked, and worked really well, is because of all the chaos that was going on inside of the ring. You have 4 stars, so it's a high level of intensity, right? That's why I think the 2 matches that had the top star, or that had the most wrestlers or the most luchadores in them, were the best matches. You could just have high octane spots during each and both of those matches. So those were the top 2 matches, in my opinion. The match between Mr. Iguana and Lola Vice, where they actually got the win over the Judgment Days, Finn Balor and Roxanne Perez, I felt like it was lacking. The one at Triple Mania 33, where we got to see Di Manito go head-to-head against Mr. Iguana, La Yesca, that was so hyped. The match was incredible. I was a big fan of that match. This match felt lacking. Felt like there wasn't enough entertainment, at least with the puppets, that I would have wanted to see. I felt like the spots, even in the match, they were lacking. They didn't hit it out of the park. It was a nice, fluid match, but I felt like it could have been a lot better with a lot better spots, especially with the incorporation of La Yesca and El Demonito. I honestly was hoping for more, and we didn't get it. The AAA Tag Team Champions Psycho Clown and Pagano retained their title against Kofi Kingston and Big G Grayson Waller. However, they got ambushed by the Wyatt Six at the end of it, and now it looks like we might be heading into a cross-brand feud between WWE's Wyatt Six, the SmackDown World Tag Team Champions, or I think it's the WWE Tag Team Champions from SmackDown, versus the Pagano and Psycho Clown, the Tag Team Champions of AAA. If I'm not mistaken, I think there was a Psycho Circus match that was supposed to take place for the triple. I think it's like the triple tag team champions, because it's like three stable. It's like the three man tag, but we didn't get that match. I thought it was announced for Worlds Collide, but we sadly didn't get it. Natalia defeated Fabi Apache. I'll be honest, I was not feeling that match. I think it's mainly because I just can't buy into Natalia, especially after WWE, how they've booked her, how they've used her over the last couple of years in the main roster, over the last decade in the main roster, to be completely honest with you. It just, her personality, her persona, it does not work. It does not work when she tries to go aggressive outside of the WWE, and then we televise it, and it's just two different natties. I don't see that natty on the main roster, and I can't buy into that natty when she goes and does independent events. Overall, it was a solid event. Not as good as, I think, the last Worlds Collide. Not as good as Triple Mania 33, but it was a solid event with Dirty Dominic Mysterio getting the AAA Mega Campeon Championship, and WWE making the right move, in my honest opinion. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back after these messages.
Guys, have you heard? Nelson, tell the people.
Shady Mob Production is an official affiliate of HBO Max. Click on the link in the description and sign up so you can watch hit series like Hard Knocks, Game of Thrones, and House of Dragons.
Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
You're watching the latest episode of N1 from the End Zone. Please click on that subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops. Now, let's kick it.
Guys, join me, Alex the Man Angelov, and check out A&A Radio, where we're going to be talking about the latest and greatest financial news, investments, banking, and personal finance. Check out the channel, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
If you're in the San Francisco Bay Area and want the best cut of your life, go check out Headspins Barbershop, located in South San Francisco, the official barbershop of N1 from the End Zone.
Guys, you're watching a Shady Mob production. Make sure to follow the Shady Mob podcast, where we break down all the latest content and talk about life. Please make sure to share, like, comment, and subscribe so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. So yesterday, WWE has announced that WrestleMania 43 will be headed to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. For the first time in its history, WrestleMania will be held outside of the U.S. and Canada. And it is a big, monumentous thing for the WWE, big, monumentous thing for Saudi Arabia as a whole, because each year it seems like Saudi Arabia has worked. It feels like over the last 10 years to bring the public perception of their country to be better. And I know there's been still criticism because a lot of their ways are still very antiquated, and I honestly don't follow politics, so I really don't know what their culture is like and all the issues that pertain to Saudi Arabia. But as a humanitarian, as a person that believes that everybody deserves an opportunity to be better, I think this is big. I hope this is big. I hope this is the right move. I just think it sucks because right now with TKO, the owners of WWE is trying to do is they're trying to price out the WWE fans from the events. At least that's what the statement from Mark Shapiro, who is the president of TKO, kind of made it seem like. They wanted to be more of a UFC type of ticket pricing, but the thing about UFC ticket prices is those are luxury events. No offense to WWE. WWE is more like a family event. It's more for children's entertainment at this point, to be completely honest with you. Even though they're on Netflix, and even though I think they've been trying to go back to a much more TV-14 rating, it still feels more like a closer PG, run-down, watered-down version of the WWE, in my honest opinion. With that being said, what TKO is trying to do with the company and trying to price out like this whole WrestleMania 43 to Saudi Arabia. It's a money ploy. It's a money tactic, to be completely honest with you guys. The reason why they're doing it is because they're paying hundreds of millions of dollars to have this event go to Saudi Arabia. And with the relationship that TKO, because we've seen what Saudi Arabia has done with the UFC in the past, and with other companies similar to the UFC. Look at their soccer league, the Saudi Arabian Pro League, right? Like all the money they've invested. Literally, they pay players that are nowhere near world class, like top 10 world class talent, hundreds of millions of dollars to go and play for them. So this is literally just a ploy by Saudi Arabia using the money that they have, that royal fund that they have, to get WWE to bring the event there. And realistically, I think it will be a banger when it comes to the presentation, when it comes to everything, because Saudi Arabia will go to any expense to set things up the way that they want to set them up, right? However, I just don't know if the wrestling and the card for that event will be too standard. And I hope it is. I really hope it is. And I really hope we don't price and we don't forget the foundation of what WWE is and how WWE got to where it is today. TKO's already exploiting the fuck out of the fan base with all the streaming rights deals and everything that they have nationally, internationally. I think I read somewhere it costs about $1,000 now a year to be a WWE fan, and just watching streaming services to watch WWE. Now, if you include ticket prices going up and all that, if you want to even go to the live events, it's going to cost you even more money, and that's crazy. Now, with that being said, we will be right back with my predictions for the Canelo Crawford fight.
Guys, have you heard? Nelson, tell the people.
Shady Mob Productions is an official affiliate of HBO Max. Click on the link in the description and sign up so you can watch hit series like Hard Knocks, Game of Thrones, and House of Dragons.
Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
You're watching the latest episode of N1 from the End Zone. Please click on that subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops. Now, let's kick it.
Guys, join me, Alex the Man Angelov, and check out A&A Radio, where we're going to be talking about the latest and greatest financial news, investments, banking, and personal finance. Check out the channel and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
If you're in the San Francisco Bay Area and want the best cut of your life, go check out Headspins Barbershop, located in South San Francisco, the official barbershop of N1 from the End Zone.
Guys, you're watching a Shady Mob production. Make sure to follow the Shady Mob podcast, where we break down all the latest content and talk about life. Please make sure to share, like, comment, and subscribe so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. So today is the day we get to see Canelo Alvarez face off against Terrence Crawford for the... What's the title they're facing off for? There are so many titles in boxing. I don't even know what the title they're fighting for is. It's like the WBC Super Middleweight Championship. See, I was right. I was just shitting. I was just spitting some facts. I knew. There's just so many titles. Anyway, Canelo Alvarez, 35-year-old fighter, 63-2-2, 39 knockouts against 37-year-old Terrence Crawford, who is 41-0 with 31 knockouts, entering the final stage of his career. These are the two biggest boxers right now in the world, literally. Basically, this is Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather of this generation, of this time, if you really think about it. I personally think it's gonna go the full. I think it's a 10-round fight. I think it'll go the full distance, with it coming down to a decision and the winner being Canelo Alvarez. Crawford, 2 years older, 41-0, has a respectable 31 knockouts. Never lost. I don't think he's ever been knocked down in the ring either. Canelo Alvarez, 63-2-2. He lost against Floyd Mayweather. I forget who his second loss is against. I think Crawford loses this match. If he doesn't knock out Canelo, I think Crawford loses this fight and Canelo wins by decision. I feel like Canelo is in his Floyd Money Mayweather era, his Floyd Money Mayweather phase, where he's a very defensive boxer now that he's 35, where he cares more about scoring points than he does about really going after the knockout. Don't forget, Canelo Alvarez, 39 knockouts. He has more knockouts than Terrence Crawford. He's 2 years younger than Terrence Crawford. I think Canelo has the edge just in the age factor and the fight experience over Terrence Crawford, even though both men are very seasoned, both men are professional, and Terrence Crawford has that power, has the experience, and is him. Crawford wants what Canelo Alvarez has, and Canelo Alvarez is the top boxer in the world for a reason, ladies and gentlemen. Canelo has had multiple big money fights, face of boxing of the current generation. Crawford, not necessarily a lot of big names. He's faced who's ever come along, made his career, made his name that way. But, hey, to be 41-0 with 31 knockouts, you got to know what the fuck you're doing in that boxing ring. And Terrence Crawford knows what he's doing. I think we won't see a knockout tonight. What we will see is the fight going to the distance, ultimately being favored to Canelo Alvarez, who will be boxing in a defensive stance, who will be racking up the points and waiting. Literally, I feel like Crawford is going to be the one trying to go for a knockout, and Canelo's just going to be laying back, dodging, and getting the points. That's what I think is going to happen. My money's on Canelo Alvarez. On a decision, no knockouts here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. With that being said, we will be right back with my 5 flaming hot picks to end this episode.
Guys, have you heard? Nelson, tell the people.
Shady Mob Productions is an official affiliate of HBO Max. Click on the link in the description and sign up so you can watch hit series like Hard Knocks, Game of Thrones, and House of Dragons.
Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
You're watching the latest episode of N1 from the End Zone. Please click on that subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops. Now, let's kick it.
Guys, join me, Alex the Man Angelov, and check out A&A Radio, where we're going to be talking about the latest and greatest financial news, investments, banking, and personal finance. Check out the channel and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
If you're in the San Francisco Bay Area and want the best cut of your life, go check out Headspins Barbershop, located in South San Francisco, the official barbershop of N1 from the End Zone.
Guys, you're watching a Shady Mob production. Make sure to follow the Shady Mob podcast, where we break down all the latest content and talk about life. Please make sure to share, like, comment, and subscribe so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, and we are back with my flaming 5 Week 2 NFL picks, ladies and gentlemen. And let's start off with the Chicago Bears versus Detroit Lions game, where I have the Chicago Bears covering the 6.5-point spread, but the Detroit Lions ultimately winning. I ultimately think we're going to get a better performance from the Chicago Bears offense. I think Caleb Williams in week 2, seeing live reps, getting full game time speed is going to be a lot better. Hopefully we'll see more from what he did in the first half, in the second half after the defenses make adjustments. The reason why is because Detroit has lost both Ben Johnson, who is now the head coach of the Chicago Bears, and Aaron Glenn, who is now the head coach of the New York Jets. Their offense and their defense last week with their new coordinators lacked. They got embarrassed by the Green Bay Packers, and they have talent on both sides of the ball. They have Sam Laporta, Amon St. Brown, Jameson Williams. They got Ty Montgomery. They got Jahmyr Gibbs. Jared Goff, in my opinion, unless he has an offensive genius calling his plays, is an average quarterback. Always been an average quarterback. We saw what he was like with Fisher. Once Fisher left, we got Sean McVay, amazing play caller. We saw the transformation. Once he got Ben Johnson, It was a development year, and then he started hitting his stride with Ben Johnson being the play caller. This upcoming game, I think Chicago, Ben Johnson, and the Bears, they cover this game, but the Detroit Lions, after losing in an embarrassing fashion last week to the Green Bay Packers, they come out with a vengeance, and they come out and win this game by a field goal, maybe a couple points. I think plus 6.5 with the turnover at the coordinator positions that they have in Detroit is ridiculous, because we saw what that offense and that defense looked like last week, and the Bears were still able to put up, I think, like 24 points, if I'm not mistaken, against the Vikings in that defense. I think they're going to be able to put up points against the Lions, and I think they cover. I genuinely believe that the Chicago Bears cover in this game. The next game we will be talking about is the Denver Broncos plus 1.5 over the Indianapolis Colts. The Broncos played atrocious against the Tennessee Titans, and they still managed to win. Bo Nix, Sean Payton, when you lose, you will come back, and you will come back harder on your players because you expect them to be better, especially after a win and you guys playing the way that they played, right? I think the Broncos will do that. I think the Colts, after demolishing the Miami Dolphins last week, are going to be riding on a high horse. They're going to be overestimating themselves a little bit, and that's what's ultimately going to cost them the game, and that's why I think the Denver Broncos this week, I think they play in Indianapolis. Going to Indy will come out with the victory. I think Denver covers the 1.5 points. They have an amazing defense this year out there in Denver with Talanoa Hufanga and Dre Greenlaw on the defensive side of the ball. We saw the impact that they had last week, and I think that impact is going to continue. Their defense is tremendous in Denver. They also got a plethora of offensive weapons out there too. Indiana Jones, man, I need to see him do it more consistently. There's been times where he's had good games, and then there's times where he just hasn't, right? I need to see it on a consistent basis before I buy into it. I just don't believe in Daniel Jones. He had one good week against Miami, who the vibes in Miami have totally been off for a long while. So because of that, I just can't give – I really can't give the Colts too much credit. I think this week with a much better team against the Denver Broncos, they're going to struggle against that defense. Indiana Jones is going to become Daniel Jones again. He's going to revert into Daniel Jones again. And I think the Denver Broncos plus 1.5 is the way to go for this game. The next game we're going to be talking about is Pittsburgh Steelers minus 3.5 over the Seattle Seahawks. Mike Macdonald, the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks, is a defensive-minded head coach, very conservative. The issue is their quarterback is Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold no longer has Kevin O'Connell calling his plays, and Sam Darnold reverted back into being Sam Darnold without a proper play caller. Reverted back to being Sam Darnold without a proper play caller. Like, we saw what he was like with Kyle, we saw what he was like with Kevin O'Connell, and we saw what he was like before that, and he wasn't good. He was not good. Now that he's up in Seattle, he doesn't have the same play calling that supported him, even though they do have a decent run game. They have some good receivers out there. I just think the Pittsburgh Steelers are way better and way further ahead. They have a legendary head coach in Mike Tomlin, who is a defensive genius. They have a solid defense who was embarrassed last week with that performance in a win against the New York Jets. They have a quarterback in Aaron Rodgers who is coming out with the chip on his shoulder, trying to prove that he can still play. And in week one, in a revenge game against the Jets, he showed that he could play. I don't think he'll have a performance to that caliber against the Seattle Seahawks, but I still think Aaron Rodgers will have a good enough performance to where they win. They have depth at the wide receiver position with DK Metcalf and George Pickens. They also have I think George Pickens got traded, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, George Pickens got traded, if I'm not mistaken. But no, they're still deep. They got a deep plethora of offensive talent and weapons, a run game. They have it all in Pittsburgh, at least this year, with Aaron Rodgers being the quarterback there. That's why I'm taking the Pittsburgh Steelers -3.5 over the Seattle Seahawks, who I really don't. I just don't believe they're going to have a season where they win the division or they're competitive with Sam Darnold being their quarterback. The fourth game that I am picking, ladies and gentlemen, with all the injuries that have been reported, take my San Francisco 49ers -3.5 over the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are also dealing with a lot of injuries. Kellen Moore is a great play caller. I won't say he isn't, but we have a genius as our play caller in Kyle Shanahan, who will get the most, I believe, out of Mac Jones, especially with CMC being healthy, with Brian Robinson being there. I understand we don't have Kittle, we don't have Ayuk, we don't have Brock. We're depleted. However, the weapons that we do have, Ricky Pearsall, Brian Robinson, CMC, who's still out there, Juwan Jennings still going to be out there. I think Trent might not be playing this week, or he might be limited this week. We're going to be fine, I think, offensively with Mac Jones. He was he was a first-round quarterback for a reason. He should have been the quarterback that we drafted over Trey Lance, in my honest opinion, and I've been saying that for a while. We will finally see what Mac Jones looks like under Kyle Shanahan this weekend. Plus, we have Robert Saleh back calling the defensive plays for the San Francisco 49ers. And we saw last week in the fourth quarter when our defense needed to shut down the Seattle Seahawks and prevent them from scoring, our defense showed up, and that's something we haven't seen all of last year. And now that Bob Saleh is back, that's a Bob Saleh defense, and you guys saw it firsthand. The Saints, I think last week they struggled a bit against the Arizona Cardinals. They put up numbers at the end in garbage time, but for the most part, Arizona, I felt like, did a decent job controlling and limiting the Saints' opportunities. Overall, Spencer Rattler, I think he'll have his opportunities in the season. I just don't think he'll be able to have those opportunities this week against my San Francisco 49ers defense, who will be carrying the Niners this week to a victory against the Saints, who are dealing with the plethora of injuries on both sides of the ball. Now, the last game, ladies and gentlemen, that I predict is clearly going to be the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Philadelphia Eagles. And who do I have? The Philadelphia Eagles -1.5 over the Kansas City Chiefs, who are also dealing with the plethora of injuries on the offensive side of the ball. Patrick Mahomes, they're on a Super Bowl. So every year after the Chiefs Chiefs lost the last Super Bowl, the Bengals made it to the Super Bowl the following year before the Chiefs were ultimately able to make it back. This year, I think it's the same thing. Chiefs are going to struggle. I don't think the Chiefs make it far this year. I thought the Chiefs were going to be the third. We're going to end up the third seed and ultimately making the Super Bowl this year, and we were going to get a Niners-Chiefs Super Bowl rematch at Levi's. However, from what I saw the first week, and this might be a week one overreaction, now they're going into week two. They're going to be 0-2 against the Philadelphia Eagles because I just don't see a way. I just do not see a way the Chiefs beat the Eagles. The Eagles are coming into this game healthy. Jalen Hurts is healthy. Saquon Barkley's healthy. Devontae Smith is healthy. A.J. Brown is healthy. Their defense is healthy. Like, they're healthy. They're legitimately healthy, and they didn't play necessarily well last week. Vic Fangio, I believe, is still their defensive coordinator out there with the Philadelphia Eagles. And with the way the Chiefs have looked, especially the last two matchups against the Eagles, I feel the Eagles got the Chiefs' number. The Eagles are the Chiefs' kryptonite, and I'm taking the Eagles to beat the Kansas City Chiefs -1.5 in this game in Kansas City. The Eagles literally are 2-0 in the last two matchups, with the second one being a molly-whopping at the Super Bowl. Will this game be close? I think it'll be close. I don't think the Chiefs are going to get blown out. However, I still have the Eagles ultimately winning because they're healthier, they are vibing, they're the champs, and the Chiefs, they've had their bell rung, and they're easier to knock out now, guys. That's my take. That being said, we have reached the end of the latest episode of N1 from the End Zone. Guys, please hit that subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops. Hit that like button. Leave a comment so I know if you agree or disagree with my takes. Always remember, desire is power. If you desire to be great, you have the power to be great. Go check out the QR code right there on the top corner. Go check out our programs. We got Smack CTV for your gaming habits. We have ANA Radio for your finance and accounting information. We have Port City Uncensored with J-Man Jack talking about local and national politics. You got N1 from the End Zone with your boy King N.P.V talking about sports, baby. And you also got the Shady Mob podcast with Alex and Angela, myself, and eventually J-Man Jack as well, talking about TV shows, movie content, comics, all the fun, geeky, nerdy stuff that you are into. Now, with that being said, I will see you all next time. I love you all. I appreciate you all. Stay tuned for more.
Guys, have you heard? Nelson, tell the people.
Shady Mob Productions is an official affiliate of HBO Max. Click on the link in the description and sign up so you can watch hit series like Hard Knocks, Game of Thrones, and House of Dragons.
Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
You're watching the latest episode of N1 from the End Zone. Please click on that subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops. Now, let's kick it.
Guys, join me, Alex and Angelov, and check out ANA Radio, where we're going to be talking about the latest and greatest financial news, investments, banking, and personal finance. Check out the channel and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops.
If you're in the San Francisco Bay Area and want the best cut of your life, go check out Headspins Barbershop located in South San Francisco, the official barbershop of N1 from the End Zone.
Guys, you're watching a Shady Mob production. Make sure to follow the Shady Mob podcast where we break down all the latest content and talk about life. Please make sure to share, like, comment, and subscribe so you can be notified when the latest content drops.